Saoirse, welcome to the Big Kickoff League of Ireland show. Firstly, your name, Saoirse is for us in Ireland. It's the easiest name in the world to pronounce. Do you get that? I suppose Saoirse Ronan got, didn't she? Got Saoirse and stuff like that. Do you get that?
Yeah, I do. I do quite a bit now, to be fair. I kind of have a joke with my friends, like I've been called everything, safari and everything. Like, so we have a good old joke about that. But yeah, it's easy for Irish people to say they know how to say it, but it's when you go abroad they struggle, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Well, my name's Roy, and I get called Ray all the time. I don't know what that's all about. It's not that hard, but there you go. The only person who actually keeps calling me Roy is a fella called Ray that I know, so he obviously knows. Anyhow, we leave
Yeah.
that one there. Um, Funny enough, I just seen that you have a new logo out, and it kind of connects with your name. So you must be thinking of going into the clothing market, are you?
Yeah. I've kind of just set up my own little, I suppose, um lockdown kind of experiment nearly. It's something that I've thought about for a long time, and then obviously from not running to match, and training sessions, I had more time just to myself and did something, I suppose, away from the football pitch. I think it's important to kind of switch off, especially when we're playing at such a high level and training weekly. And I think this was just kind of something for me that I enjoy doing. So I'm kind of in the process of launching a few of my own hoodies and stuff, and called it Freedom Clothing. Um, Still means Saoirse, and I think that's a lot easier for people to say than Saoirse. So yeah, I just thought it sounded right.
Surely can't get that wrong.
Yeah.
A new season's upon us. You must be looking forward to, as you said, we've been in lockdown for so long and over different periods. So to start getting some sort of football back again, it must be great.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's ready to go now. We've had 6 good weeks of preseason together, and definitely everyone's eager to get back on that pitch on Saturday. And last season was brilliant, and hopefully we can finish out this season and go the whole way through. Again, there's a lot of restrictions and stuff, but look, we're happy to be on the pitch, and it's great now that we have streams available for families and stuff to watch, which will boost it again.
Yeah. Republic of Ireland manager Vera Pauw, she commented on your move to Shelbourne, kind of saying that she didn't think that you needed to move to Shelbourne to get into the Republic of Ireland squad. So, what determined your move from Cork to Shelbourne?
Yeah, look, I suppose you've one life, and I could stay here in Cork and play with Cork City and play GA and be the happiest person every single day. I'd be so content, and enjoy myself, and that's what I did for the last 3 years. I've enjoyed playing Cork football and Cork City, and it's worked great. And I think I proved that it was possible to play both codes. And I think some people have kind of took back a step and been like, oh, now you've realised you can't really play both codes. But I think I could, and I still can if I wanted to. But again, look, it's you've one life, and I just wanted to try something new. I've played with Cork City since I was 16. I've only played at Douglas Hall. Went straight into Women's National League with Cork City, and I'm still young, and I want to try different things. I still live at home. I want to do different things, and I think now is just the right time for me. We've had a really tough year of just doing nothing, and um yeah, Shells are a brilliant club, and I think loads of girls want to play for them. So when the opportunity arose for me, and I was looking at going different places, and I kind of had thought about it in my mind, I just said, why not? Obviously, it's not ideal that I'm still playing against Cork City and stuff, because obviously they still have a place in my heart, and I still live in Cork and stuff. So, and Cork's a small place, but yeah, again, it was nothing to do with Vera didn't tell me to go there. Vera didn't say it was a good move, bad move. It was on my own back, and it's something that I wanted to do for myself, and take myself out of my comfort zone. That was it really, and push myself to different levels that I haven't tested in both on and off the pitch.
Yeah, I think she's thinking about the whole Ireland setup. If there's a better spread of players in the league, that the league will be a better league for it. And if a couple of the teams have all the best of players, then it mightn't be as competitive. So I think that's more of a bigger vision from Vera. Was there an indication of going elsewhere, abroad, or I heard Iceland even mentioned? Were they all rumours, or was there something in that?
Yeah, look, I signed up with George in 10 Sport Management before Cup final. So kind of before that game, I kind of told him, look, he knew I was playing GA, he knew I was playing Cork City, and he kind of asked me what my goals were. And I suppose every girl that plays in the Women's National League looks at going to England and would love to go to England and play abroad. Like that's the ultimate goal, and obviously play for Ireland. So yeah, look, there was talks with a few teams in England and stuff to try go over on trials, and obviously COVID again. Didn't want that to happen. And then I got an opportunity to go over and play in Reykjavik in Iceland for 3 months, and I did kind of think about it, and I was going to go, but then again, I just kind of felt it wasn't the right time for me, and I didn't want to go there personally. I just felt I'd prefer to stay here, and then Shells obviously came up, and I just felt it was a better fit for me right now, with the situation I'm in and stuff, and with college. So yeah, that was what I opted for.
And Noel King is down there now as head coach. How does he differ in a management style, on the coach and out on the pitch? How does he differ to the managers or coaches you've had before?
To be honest, he doesn't differ that much. He's very similar to the way a lot of the Irish managers would have coached us growing up. So from that point of view, that's where I can kind of, I suppose, look back and say I kind of understand where the way he does things kind of by the book, and like a lot of international managers that I've had, Dave Connell, Dave Bell, he reminds me of those kind of managers. Really nice guy, really easygoing, and it's great fun at training. It's never too serious, but then when it gets serious, you have to tune in. And yeah, look, everyone has so much respect for him, and a good few of the girls have played for him. And I think his history tells enough on the type of guy he is. So yeah, definitely. I think again that was another factor in who doesn't want to play under Noel King. Like, so yeah, it's all going good so far, and he's a great guy.
Now, you did mention the GAA. You have played for Cork. How do you sustain that between playing elite in GAA and elite in the League of Ireland? And is it sustainable? Can you keep doing the two?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I suppose sometimes I nearly count myself lucky in the way games fall. I never really had that much clashes. I was always able to play both. And I think some people kind of go into look, you have to recover. And yeah, recovery is extremely important. But again, it's 90 minutes in soccer. You're playing whatever, 60 minutes, 65 minutes in football. You're out training weekly for nearly 2 hours on a pitch. So your body actually, I believe your body actually is used to it. Obviously, a game, it's going to be a lot tougher. But I think when you get your mindset right, and you want to do it and you're enjoying it, it's a lot easier. Like there was one weekend that it was a tough weekend. We were losing, both codes, and I just felt my whole body nearly shutting down because it was my brain more than my body telling me I'm tired. I don't want to play today. But when you're winning, it's so enjoyable to be on a pitch when you're performing, and I think you know yourself that you've trained hard enough to get there. So I think that's why it is sustainable. But then again, look, I want to, I suppose, make the Irish team, and I think to make the Irish team, obviously, you have to put in that extra graft in probably one sport. I do believe if I stayed playing both and I kept pushing through, then I think I could have made the Irish team by playing both. But obviously, then you go into Irish camp. That's a week away from GA training. That doesn't work then. So that's when you have to make the step back. So that's what I'm aiming for now. Instead of leaving GA when I made the Irish team, I felt it was better to do it beforehand and really focus and hope to get in there soon.
And I suppose if your form dips at all, people will be pointing towards it. If you haven't scored a few goals and people say you look tired, you may not even feel tired, they're going to start pointing towards it. So at some stage, they're going to use that, if you want to call it an excuse, to point at that's the reason why.
Yeah, I think you're always going to have them people, no matter how good or bad you play. They're always going to have an excuse, as you said. And I think you just need to kind of push that to the side and look at the positives. You have the great weekend and everyone's your best friend and singing your praises. And then you've the next weekend, you might only have one game and not play as good, and they're going to say, sure, she's tired from the weekend before. But they can use excuses if you're playing one sport too, that you're tired or you're this or you're that. So again, it's all the one. You know your body best, and I know my body, and I'm thankful that my two coaches understood that I wanted to give 100% in both, and I was at both training sessions every week. But yeah, look, there's going to be always people that are going to be saying she's tired looking, she's this, but football was just an excuse for them. And if I'm tired looking in soccer, what are they going to say now, that I'm probably training too hard with soccer or training too much? So they're always going to find an excuse if they want to find one, and I just kind of have to push that to the side.
Are you thick-skinned? Like you be on social media now quite a bit. I don't know how much loveliness you get and how many little daggers you get, but have you found that side of things easy to deal with, tough to deal with? How do you find that?
Yeah, look, I suppose, again, I count myself lucky. I haven't got that much, I suppose, negativity towards me. But I suppose every bit you do get, you definitely look into a lot more than the positives, which can be tough at times. But again, I think I just kind of, when I suppose things are going well and your social media's blowing up after a big game or something, I try not to zone too much in on that, because I think then when it's the opposite, you zone too much in on that. So if you kind of just keep, I suppose, a level head nearly in both aspects, try find that balance. It's easier said than done, and everyone will vary. There's some things that people say and it's going to stick with you forever nearly, and it could only be something small, and I definitely have a few of those, but I just try to use them as, I suppose, fire, and to prove a point and prove them wrong. So yeah, that's how I try to look at it. I try to take the positives from everything, good and
And
bad.
do you find that other girls wouldn't deal with it as well, or what way does that work? Do you talk about it?
No, look, I suppose, like an example, like when I suppose Vera kind of saying if she didn't know I should have moved to Shells, I suppose that's the Irish manager talking, and everyone wants to impress her. And a few of the girls kind of said it to me quietly, what did you think of that? And just what were your opinions on it, and how did you feel about it? But these things are going to happen, and I do think some girls probably take it more to heart. But at the end of the day, like, we're all human, and we all we're never going to be perfect, and we might say things that we don't mean in different ways, or people might take it in different ways, and we just have to learn from that and move on. But yeah, look, I do think some girls unfortunately take it definitely more to heart and hold on to it, instead of just brushing it to the side. But again, everyone's different, and that's just a learning process that we all have to go through.
Yeah. The two codes, very interested to see what way in preparation, recovery, even in your training, how do they differ between the GAA and the League of Ireland? And how do you find it? And is there anything in the two codes that you would like to see one take and another take, if you know what I mean, little pieces that they could take each that would benefit them?
Yeah, I suppose in recovery, I think they're nearly the same. I suppose we train a lot more. We'd be a lot more on the pitch for soccer. And then I suppose the sessions will be probably a bit more harder, I suppose, in a way to say. They wouldn't be as long. There'll be a lot of set pieces and soccer sessions and stuff during the week, whereas you always have that one, I suppose, gruesome session with the GAA. That takes that extra bit of recovery. But I think they're both fairly similar. With the GAA, we get fed after every training session, and I think that's extremely important. And it's something that definitely needs to come into soccer, because it's not.
Yes.
It is important to eat and refuel your body right after training sessions, and people just don't have time nearly. So by having that on Wednesdays and Sundays was really helpful for me, definitely, and a lot of the girls that have to travel far and stuff. So that is probably the main thing that I would like to see to come into the soccer environment, and everything else is pretty much similar. All players are well looked after with physios and stuff, so that's good to see. And I think Women's National League is only growing, and I do think it'll definitely keep growing in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, no, I've seen that with Shamrock Rovers straight after games. They play pre-season friendlies against Lucan United, have a connection with them, who I am with. they would straight away, they wheel their meals in straight after the games, and they're having their curry or whatever it is, rice or whatever kind of food that they decide to have. But and they're the little things that will give you that extra 1% each time. So every little thing like that. I have a question here from Niamh McGee. Niamh writes for us on thebigkickoff.com. She's appeared on the show as well. She feels that women's football is very lacking in areas in Ireland. Says, bar Galway, there's nowhere in Connacht that she could play for if she wanted to. She's from Sligo. Is it something that you talk about the League of Ireland? Do you discuss it yourselves about, you know, how the standard of Irish football is, how certain teams, I suppose the League of Ireland, if you look at the League of Ireland, should they be forced, the clubs should be forced to have women's football, because they had to be forced to do under 13 to under 19 football for the boys. Is that something that should happen?
Probably.
That's a lot of questions there, by the way. I would think.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, I suppose, for me growing up, like, I had Douglas Hall, and I suppose you're like, Cork is big, but it's also small. And I think everyone knows and wanted to play for Cork City kind of growing up. And I think it's kind of a hard one, because you're nearly kind of, it's like nearly a platform to build to that bigger club. And now you see a lot of players leaving those smaller leagues at a younger age, and going into 17s and 19s teams. And that's where players want to be, of course. They want to play the best teams and be the best and be coached by the best. But yeah, look, I'm sure everyone has 100 million views on that question, and I do think there probably should be more clubs, like, for the girls that are really good footballers, we'll say, in Cork, even that can't make it into the Cork City team. I'm sure they'd get into another women's national league team. Yeah. But again, you have to travel, and not everyone can do that. Not everyone has resources to do that, and it is tough, and it does take a toll. So then you're left playing against, I suppose, if you're here and the women's national league is here, and you're just underneath it, where does that leave you? There's no kind of in between, and I suppose that's kind of hard for players. And I think that is what's benefiting now, having the under-17s league and definitely the under-19s league. Even for my own little sister, she's playing 17s, and then she has no team. So she goes back to Douglas Hall. And she was lucky enough that she broke into the senior team and was getting game time. But if she wasn't getting game time, that would have been a talent go to waste, because she would have been sitting on a bench every week. She's just playing under 17 against top teams, and now she's sitting on a bench with players a lot older than her. So she was lucky in that, but not everyone has that opportunity to go straight back to a senior club that plays senior. So I think it is important for definitely clubs and everyone to push on and try to get as much teams as possible and keep all the girls involved.
Yeah, I think if you're, as I said, you're probably lucky because you have those clubs available to you and not far away from it, and you have that focus. But there's probably clubs all around the Midlands and the West, or players, women who want to play football, girls who looking up to yous, wanting to play football and don't have anywhere to aspire to, and parents driving halfway across the country or whatever maybe isn't an option for them. So for us to have the best Republic of Ireland team, for us to have a better League of Ireland, we really do need to get more, I suppose, teams available first of all, and then that'll produce better players. So I do think it's something there. Just talking about the Women's National League, of course, it starts this week, but we have LOI TV for the first time. The Pixelot cameras are coming in, so no cameramen, they'll follow everything. Did you heard the story about the up in Ayr United, where they had the linesman and he had a bald head and the camera started following his head? So we're hoping that's not going to happen, but it's definitely a step up. It's something that we need. What do you think of the marketing for the league? I suppose when you look at the Premier Division, people are always giving out about the marketing for the Premier Division, the men's Premier Division. It must be frustrating with the women's league that there's not as much marketing, if really any at all. This is a good step. What else could be done?
Yeah, again, look, I suppose we have to kind of take the good and the bad. We've come from probably barely anything, and now you have the electricity sponsoring the men and the women together, which is a huge step again. But yeah, I think like you look at the likes of like Aino Gorman playing in the league, like she's someone that every girl knows. And there was a great video for the league made, and she was in it, which I thought was brilliant. But that was virtually it. And I think players like her that a lot of girls know, Steph Roach, a lot of younger kids do look up to these players. And we go back to last year, 2020 campaign, can't see it, can't be it. Like, we don't see these players enough in these promos and stuff. And there definitely can be a lot more talks, chats, videos, all these things, like small little things that can really build and engage with the youth, I suppose. And yeah, but look, as I said, we've come from probably nothing in the last 10 years, so we're definitely striving. I think this has been a huge step this year. Now we've the cameras in, so that will allow players that can't get to games, or when we're allowed spectators that can't come, I'm sure they'll still be streamed and stuff, which is huge. And now that will encourage people to come out to the games and show the talent and quality that is on show.
Yeah, it's a big step, because there is going to be people who can watch these games that have never watched a women's game before. For those type of people, I suppose I'm going to be one of them, because you don't get to go and watch the Women's National League. I think I've only ever really seen it on television. You've seen highlights, and maybe you've seen something somewhere else, but you haven't got to see them. So now we're going to get to see full games, which is great, because we watched first division football last year. There's a lot of first division football is never ever seen as well in the men's side. And there was some cracking games in that. So we're expecting loads of good games in the Women's National League. No pressure, all right? Plenty of good goals. But who do we look out for? So anyone who hasn't seen any games, who do we look out for in the league? First of all, the teams that you think are going to be up there, because it starts this week. And also the players who you think will stand out. Who should we watch for this year?
I suppose...
apart from yourself now.
Yeah, look, for me, I've started with a new team, and it's nearly a fresh start for me. So I suppose now I'm competing against players that I've played with all my life, and I'm training with players that I've only played against. So yeah, there's so much talent within every team. Like, just looking at the preseason scores and stuff this year, you see like Athlone drawing with Galway. That was a great result for them. There's just been, so far preseason has just been really good, and you can see that the league is going to be extremely competitive. You do, I suppose, have those Peamount and Shells games that I watched myself last year, and I'm sure every other player in the Women's National League watched, and they got great views. And those are the games that I suppose nearly decided the league last year. So I don't think I can probably pick one or two teams to watch, because I do think every game is going to be vital, and every point or every 3 points you get is gonna mean something. I know for us, like, we talk about not getting the points, it's nearly having them and then throwing them away. That you can't afford to do that. Once you get on top of the game, you have to hold on to them, because they're so important. For me, the players probably that stand out the most, I really think Karen Duggan has been a phenomenal player for Peamount. I think she's the core of the team. I think she sets up nearly everything. She holds the front. She's just a real leader on the pitch. And she's really powerful and strong. And playing against her, she's definitely someone that I kind of nearly watch to see how I can improve by watching her. And she's with Peamount, and then obviously you've Cork City, and you've Ava O'Mahony, young super talent, who can hit the ball with both legs. And playing with her last year was great. Now I'm gonna have to go out and play against her. And then you've another super talent, Jessie with Shells, Jamie Finn with Shells. And then you've players that have played in the league for 10 years. You've like Kylie Murphy, still one of the strongest players, and still scores unbelievable goals. And she's just, like, again, another leader. So yeah, look, there's loads of players that we could name out, and they all bring something different to the league, and every game do something that's really exciting, I think. And these players, and I'm sure a lot of players coming through are gonna do exciting things and make changes in games that mean a lot to everyone. I don't think any game is gonna be a pushover. Like you've new teams coming in like Bows, Athlone, they're all kind of fresh in the league, and again you go out and no one knows what's going to happen. They have some phenomenal players, really quick players, confident players, and again it's 90 minutes of football, 11v11, and I think it's going to be an exciting year, and I think there's going to be a lot of upsets this year, more so than last year, definitely. So it's going to be exciting.
No, I'm looking forward to it. As you said, the FAI Cup final is the one that everyone gets to see. So now there's no excuse because it's free of charge. So all you have to do is click a link, you're in, you watch a game, there's a game of football, and get in and support it. And of course, there's so many people out there who've had their kids go out and play football. Now they have daughters who love football. They've got to get them promoting it. And we lose a lot of girls in around the 40 and definitely 15, 16, 17 year age. And if we can keep them hooked into football and have that pathway through, and this is brilliant now because they have a focus now that they can actually see where they could get to if they put their head down and work. I think this is going to be magical. Vera Powell, we'll talk about, it seems that you're edging your way into this Republic of Ireland side again. It must mean the world to you to put the jersey on. So how do you make sure now that you stay there, that you get yourself in, and that you're a big part of the team?
Yeah, I suppose once you get a little sniff of an Irish jersey, I don't think you ever want to turn back. And I think last year I kind of set out my goals at the start of the year, and one of them was to get my name in there within about 18 months, and I kind of managed to do so last October, which really, really excited me, and it put me kind of on the radar now. And yeah, look, I've been training probably more so on things that I wouldn't have had time to do before, because I've had a lot more time to focus on myself rather than a whole team as collectively. So yeah, look, it's really exciting times ahead, and it's going to be a big year again for the Irish women's team, and I think everyone wants to be a part of it. But there's 40 odd players that you could probably name out that would deserve a sniff in there and an opportunity, and whoever is the 18 or whatever 25 that get to go into camp, they're the lucky ones, and they really need to hold on to their number in the panel if they do get in there, because there's other people knocking on the door, and we're all eager. We all want to be there. We all want to impress Eileen and Vera. And look, they're great. They stay in touch, and they keep those players that are on the borderline informed on how to improve, which I think is really important, because we're not just kind of, they've given us a sniff, but we're not just put to the side. We're encouraged to keep pushing on, knocking on the door, and trying to find a way in there. So yeah, look, I can just have to keep working on myself, and trying to do the best for Shells now next week, and go out, and you can train as hard as you want, but if you don't perform on the day, then no one can see what you can do. So again, having the videos streamed now will give everyone the opportunity to see this, and I know Vera and Eileen watch the games as well. So yeah, it's huge times ahead, and it's exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, Saoirse Freedom Noonan, we hope that we see loads of you this year. We hope 2 last night, so that's brilliant. I hope that continues on for you. I'm delighted because I can't wait to see more football, and the women's football is going to be highly interesting. And of course, we get more people on. Hopefully, Vera will come on the show and really sell women's football in Ireland. Saoirse, thanks very much for it.
Thanks a million, Roy.